to give us this opportunity to play this game we love. Liam and Will, touch gloves. Guys, come across, meet your opponents.
Officials today, Peter Buchanan, Hans Wittelsberger, and Joshua Blaisdell. At the face-off X, Jake Naso, a first-team All-American, and Colin Hagstrom will take the opening face-off for Notre Dame. You'll see Hagstrom and Will Lynch. A procedure call right away against Notre Dame. Duke's got the ball, and the Blue Devils go on offense first. It is a Duke offense with 4 All-Americans. Brennan O'Neill, the headliner. Andrew McAdory and Dyson Williams, top-notch attackmen. And Garrett Ledman had the hat trick and the game winner in the semis. Liam Entenmann, the Kelly Award winner, the top goalie in Division I, in the cage for the Irish. Ledman all the way to the cage. The goal is good, and Duke opens the championship in a similar fashion in which they closed the semifinal.
That's a carbon copy of the walk-off goal on Saturday. Talk about confidence. Ledman carries in, little pump fake right there, and he's able to duck underneath and dive across the tangent of the crease. He's got a big size advantage over Donovan, 81 in blue.
It looked originally like he was going to alley dodge, and we've seen a lot of those underneath counters by Garrett Ledman, but more importantly, it tells me about his guts and his short memory. He was in the crease. The whole lacrosse world knows Garrett Ledman's winner against Penn State was a crease violation. I love how aggressive he was on that first take.
Will Lynch taking this face-off for the Irish. He was so good down the stretch against Virginia's Petey LaSala in the semifinals.
It's going to be interesting to watch the face-off battle, which on paper favors Duke, and it'll be interesting to watch the goaltending here, because Entenmann may have the stronger hand for Notre Dame in that department.
Will Helm, the Division III transfer from St. Lawrence, in the goal for Duke. And the semifinal win against Penn State, he struggled, just 6 out of 21. Against Notre Dame in the regular season, 10 out of 27. The Irish turn it over. Jack Gray quickly up ahead. This is Jake Caputo. Nobody picks him up, and he fires a missile wide. Andrew McAdory will retrieve on any shot that goes out of bounds. Possession awarded to the player closest to the ball when it goes out. Lacrosse has an 80-second shot clock. There comes Tommy Schelling, the Lehigh transfer. He's played well down the stretch, 2 goals in the semifinal win. Checked by Nick Harris, the short stick D-Midi. Schelling on the rollback, it's not there, gives it up. Second to midfield now for Duke. Schelling, Carey, Owen Caputo. This is Brennan O'Neill looking for Owen Caputo, and a turnover.
Notre Dame's a franchise that for decades has been built on defense. They play man-to-man defense, and what they do best, they keep you out of the middle, out of the paint area, and they'll force shots from the wing areas.
Jack Simmons, number 3 for Notre Dame. 5 goals in the last 2 games, 15 on the season. He banked 2 national titles with Virginia, seeking a 3rd. Here's Chris Cavanaugh, right hand free. It skirts offline, and his brother Pat with his first touch. Pat Cavanaugh with a heavily taped left hamstring. Now Jalen Seymour. Here's Chris Kavanaugh. Over to Brian Tevlin, the semifinal hero. Tevlin, a grad transfer from Yale. Seymour with a bouncer. Simmons has the backup. Shot clock at 19.
A lot of pressure on 50 in blue, Chris Kavanaugh, to assume more of a quarterback role with Pat limited with that left hamstring.
Simmons around the bend. Rolls it back, shoots with the left hand, misses the cage. Shot clock at 6. Wilson Stevenson, Duke's leader in takeaways against Chris Kavanaugh. Here's Tevlin, hesitated, fires and scores, and beats the shot clock. So the two players who scored the game winners on Saturday get their respective teams on the board first on Monday.
I was mentioning an Irish Nation knows 50 in blue needs to take the keys of the offense from older brother Pat because he's nicked. Well, guess what? He can feed, and the clock awareness by Chris Kavanaugh was spectacular, and Tevlin has ice in his veins.
I tell you, defensively, late in the shot clock situation, you need better recognition. Notre Dame's already going through their substitutions. They've sent 2 players off. You know they're going to jam the ball inside. You've got to be more in the sticks and the gloves of Tevlin, who's clutch heroics on Saturday. His guts when the game was on the line are the reason why the Irish are here.
Naso punches this forward, picks it up. He is a threat offensively. We saw it Saturday, 2 goals and an assist. All season long, the ACC was a circle. Duke owned Virginia. Virginia owned Notre Dame up until Saturday. And Notre Dame won its only meeting against Duke. Aiden Denenza now. Over to Brennan O'Neill, St. Anthony's High School on Long Island. Duke has a heavy St. Anthony's flavor. Notre Dame a heavy Chaminade flavor. That is St. Anthony's rival on the island. Notre Dame goalie Liam Entenmann from Chaminade, among others. Here's McAdory. He played with O'Neill in high school, as did Denenza, 88 in white. Denenza absorbing the contact against the sophomore All-American Ben Ramsey. Shot clock dips under 20. Charles Balsamo shoots low, and he's shooting against his former high school teammate Liam Entenmann. Balsamo from Chaminade.
Entenmann fights that one off on a surface that should be a little more packed and shooter-friendly today than it was on Saturday. That ball really ricocheted off the right-handed delivery, but a wonderful job of Entenmann to drop his hips and his level, but then to track it with his top hand.
Here is Riley Gray. Had a hat trick in round 1. Now Chris Kavanaugh, who had 5 goals in the regular season meeting with Duke. His brother Pat had 8 points in that game. Gray serpents around the crease. Right hand 3, denied by Helm. Kark with the hamstring for Pat Kavanaugh, with Chris Kavanaugh taking a beating on Saturday. What impact does that have on Notre Dame's big weapon, the ride?
Everything, Anish, and when you have a nicked up hamstring, you need the full body sprint to run the 40, 50 yards. So I think it is a massive storyline. The Kavanaughs are known to be pit bulls on that full court press. And on this side of the field, the matchup, the big boy matchup's O'Neill and Fake. And Fake is pressing out and being a little bit aggressive. You watch when he gets the ball.
There's McAdory rolling inside, looks to dump it off. It's picked off. Carter Parlett. Now Notre Dame will set up its clear. They've got to get it across midfield before the shot clock hits 60, and will do with ease. Jalen Seymour, 26 in blue. Big 6'4" sophomore. Now Pat Cavanaugh. Helm comes out of the cage. Helm slips. Cavanaugh didn't see it. And he was marked by Kenny Brower, 29 in white, a first-team All-American. Yard sale on Memorial Day.
Get him a bungee cord.
Wilson Stevenson brings it up. 19 in white. Has been a wrecking ball defensively for Duke. O'Neal with a shot turned away by Entenmann. And the ball goes out of bounds. Chris Fake was there. Notre Dame ball.
Quint Entenmann's on to O'Neal's shot. O'Neal loves to go to the opposite pipe when he's sweeping across.
As both coaches told us, not a lot of secrets left between these two. They played twice last year, once this year. Notre Dame won all 3 of those. But Duke has beaten Notre Dame in the NCAA tournament 5 times since 2010. Eric Dobson, 4 goals in the semis, gives the Irish their first lead of this championship game, 2-1.
The big lefty running downhill. Jacksonville, Florida. With a head of steam. Down the alley. On the run. Finds the far post. Dobson continues to play hot.
Duke has won 3 national championships, all under John Danowski and Quint. 2 of those titles have come at the expense of Kevin Corrigan and Notre Dame.
In what was a low-scoring game back in 2010 that went into overtime, it was C.J. Costabile providing the storybook moment for the Blue Devil program. And then Jordan Wolf put on the afterburners and got to pay dirt in 14 in a championship game that was tight. And there's Coach Danowski.
In fact, starting with that 2010 championship game, Duke has beaten Notre Dame 5 times in the NCAA tournament. In 4 of those games, Notre Dame either had the lead or was tied in the 4th quarter. The other, that 2014 championship game, the Irish rallied from 8-2 down. They got it to 10-9 in the 4th quarter before Jordan Wolf put it away for Duke.
What you sense from Notre Dame this season is that they took that frustration and turned it into focus. They took that failure, and now they're looking to turn that into finish.
Simmons gets past Henry Bard. Behind the cage, Pat Cavanaugh. Seymour. Chris Cavanaugh. Shot blocked. Ooh. And it's scooped up by Helm.
Notre Dame's winning some matchups on the perimeter. The thing that stands out to me right now are the matchups. Okay, Kenny Brower is covering Pat Cavanaugh. Pat Cavanaugh's not 100%. I'm not sure I love that matchup. While Wilson Stevenson covers Chris Cavanaugh, who appears more dangerous and more healthy today.
Game 6, Western Conference Finals tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Stars and Golden Knights continue their best of 7. Aiden Denenza stops, turns, misses the mark.
And for Duke offensively, Anish, and Paul, I want to get your opinion. If Chris Fake, 7 in blue, is pressing out to Brennan O'Neal and denying him touches, Brennan's got to be willing to play without the ball and maybe start on the inside and then pop. Put Chris, 7 in blue, in a slide or help position.
Ledman got a good look. That's a save. It comes to Notre Dame. Ledman that was a big initiator in that Penn State game. Now the ride from Duke. McAdory nearly forced a turnover. Fake able to gobble it up.
I think Duke has been smart, though, to gauge the health of Pat Cavanaugh. I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Brower, who is the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, switches on Chris Cavanaugh, who will be carrying the ball a lot more. Wilson Stevenson won round one against Chris Cavanaugh with the check, and Stevenson leads the Blue Devils in caused turnovers. But I think for the duration of this game, you want your eraser on the major ball carrier for Notre Dame, and that's going to be Chris Cavanaugh.
Here comes Dobson. Pat Cavanaugh able to recover. Now Chris Cavanaugh has a short stick matchup. Goes to work on Aiden McGuire. There's the slide. Notre Dame moves it around behind the back. Jake Taylor denied by Helm. Wow. Taylor had an incredible twister shot in the final 30-plus seconds of regulation to send the semifinal against Virginia to OT.
That was gorgeous offense, tic-tac-toe, creativity. Helm sharp today.
That's big for Duke.
The other option you have if you're Duke is a heavier dose of Charles Balsamo for the midfield. He can play that lefty wing if there's an eye on Brennan O'Neill.
That will draw a flag as Owen Caputo got devoured. Delayed penalty. Dyson Williams now on the run. Entenmann the save, and Duke will have the extra man for the first time.
Fans don't like it. To add on that point, Clark, I think Duke's primary dodgers in this game have to be Andrew McAdory and Charles Balsamo.
Please reset to 60.
Caputo. That's an underhook if you're following the NCAA wrestling tournament. But Caputo does a nice job of once that stick's under his arm, he chicken wings it tight and clamps down on it, which forces the official's hand. Kevin Corrigan will have none of it.
First man-up opportunity of championship weekend for Duke. They did not have an EMO Saturday. 45% on the season. Good look here from Caputo. McAdory with the backup. 10 seconds left on the man-up. Duke's missed its last 8. Williams sitting on 59 goals on the season. Skip pass. Denenza. And retrieved by Charles Balsamo.
Look at Tevlin in there directing traffic. You talk about a multi-tooled player, 12 in blue.
Playing with a long stick now. On the doorstep, and there is Balsamo. No! Off the skirt of the net. Clark, this feels a lot like the regular season meeting. We're early on. Both teams played it cautious. They traded jabs before starting to launch haymakers once that second quarter got going.
Absolutely, and I think Chris Fake has been the matchup that Brennan O'Neill has not been able to really escape this season. And that's been the difference with the Duke offense not getting into the flow.
Meanwhile, the Duke defense swarming. It will stay with Notre Dame. Last touch on Duke.
Physical, huh? Bringing the heat, Anish.
We saw 2 physical games on Saturday. A big part of Monday, conditioning. How much is left in the tank? Simmons, his pass on a bounce, picked up by Cavanaugh, who stings the top shelf. Chris Cavanaugh makes it 3-1.
They call that high heat. You watch the wrists. You watch the hips. He practices this shot day in and day out. And when Chris Cavanaugh gets his feet set, the hockey background takes over, and it is snap, crackle, pop.
This was a fortunate possession for Notre Dame because the referees missed an infraction against Liam Entenmann. on that last shot that hit the side of the net. The skirt, watch the goaltender step out of the crease and then back in. Okay, this is an out and in violation. Watch it right here. Watch his feet. He's out and then he's back in. That is a violation. That possession never should have happened.
Yeah, great call there, Quint. Notre Dame off the wings. It's Jose Boyer. His brother Keith wears number 11 for Duke. Big day for the family. Dad Jay, Mom Marianne, and Kark, I'm hearing the word is the family's not allowed to have a rooting interest today.
They're wearing Yorktown gear, the same hometown that I'm from, and two incredible young men. I always say the Boyers, in addition to Brett Makar, who's a first-team All-American and first-round draft pick for the PLL Atlas. They're the type that shovel the old lady's driveway in a snowstorm in the winter, and they don't tell anyone about it.
Quint, what'd you have for over-under on Yorktown references today?
I took the over. I thought it was a lock.
Dobson, too high.
The other thing with the matchups here, Kark, Wilson Stevenson, 19, in white for Duke. He can bump up and play a big, strong midfielder, as he did against Sam Handley, Penn's
Exactly.
midi. I'd like him on Dobson, and I like Brower on 50, Chris Kavanaugh. I don't think Pat Kavanaugh deserves either top two defenders.
Here's Chris Kavanaugh, was free for a moment, dislodged. He lost his helmet. Pat Kavanaugh gets it back. Flag down. And Chris Kavanaugh, who needed 5 stitches near his eye after the semifinals, had his helmet come off. Flag down. Officials separate the players before any flare-ups.
Kavanaugh's unbreakable. Big heart, little egos. Competitive edge is their special sauce. As you see Ryder Garnsey, volunteer assistant, talking to Coach Corrigan. It's apparent that Duke is bringing the body today, that they are playing a physical style of defense.
White, 29, illegal body check, direct contact to the head, 2 minutes, full time.
Wow, that's a big one. The nation's #1 extra man in the regular season gets a shot. But I will tell you, when you see this replay, it is a gruesome hit. But if you know the Kavanaughs, that's not going to keep him down.
When the officials determine the length of non-releasable penalties, they look at really 3 factors. If it's an indirect hit to the head or neck area, it's 1 minute. If it is a direct hit, and that's what you heard Peter Buchanan say, it's 2 minutes. If it is considered flagrant, it's 3 minutes, and sometimes you can have an ejection attached.
Welcome to the tough game.
Notre Dame, as Paul said, the best extra man unit in the country. They get to the middle, and Richard Delly, who's a man-up specialist, fires it offline.
He's the hub guy, Anish. They get the ball in there. He's a shooter or a redistributor. He's the hub of the wheel.
If Notre Dame just ends the quarter with possession, they're looking for a shot. If they end the quarter with possession, there would be no face-off to begin the second quarter. Notre Dame would have the ball and still have plenty of time on the extra man. And it looks like that's what they will do here in the final seconds of quarter #1. They took a couple of shots. The Irish with a 3-1 lead after 15 minutes of play. Notre Dame will begin the second quarter with the ball and an extra man opportunity.
The forever game. Notre Dame looking for their first championship. Garrett Ledman been the guy for Duke.
Your ACC co-champs now will sit and wait to see if they can make it into the NCAA tournament.
Ohio State out of the Big Ten.
Isn't the goal to get the best teams to play in the NCAA tournament? I think it's their most dangerous team
in franchise history, and yet they don't get in this tournament.
Pat Kavanaugh behind the back.
This team is together and they are nasty.
Sound the bagpipes. Notre Dame going to championship weekend in the city of brotherly love.
It's been decades in the making. Can the Irish earn their first national title? They're up 3-1 after one, and they'll be on the power play for about a minute as we start the second quarter. Chris Cotter and Paul Carcaterra on the field. So for Duke, what do they have to do here in the second quarter to get back into it?
I think, Chris, it's both sides of the field. Defensively, do you really stick with that matchup of Kenny Brower against Pat Kavanaugh, who obviously cannot run at full speed? Do you switch him and put him on Chris? And then on the other end for me is Brendan O'Neill. He's been ineffective so far in this first quarter. Chris Fake is defending him, pressing out on him. You got to set some picks for O'Neill or put some other Dodgers on the wing spots.
Duke 1 for 11 shooting in that opening quarter. 3-1 Notre Dame. They begin with the ball and a minute to go on their extra man opportunity. It is a non-releasable penalty, so even if Notre Dame scores, if there's a balance left on the EMO, they would still have the extra man.
50 in blue. Chris Kavanaugh has been lethal with his outside shot here.
Looking to get inside. Richard Deli feeds inside. Taylor turned away by Helm. The Kaiser, William Helm. Now Stevenson looking for help, and clamping down is Helm, and Duke will try to kill these final 20 seconds.
Anish, unbelievable. I mean, Helm was 29% in the semifinals. We thought he might get yanked and pulled, yet today he bounces back, and he is keeping this game within reach for the Blue Devils. An amazing body save and good rebound control.
Q as Duke gets to even strength here. How do you activate Brennan O'Neill, the ACC Player of the Year?
Okay, three things real quick. I love the Charlie Balsamo matchup. Sorry, Charles. I like Andrew McAdory. But as Kark said, they've got to use O'Neill maybe as a picker or an off-ball guy inside.
Dyson Williams stopped by Entenmann, the top goalie in Division I.
Entenmann guessed right. Took that right off the grill, the throat protector. You could hear it up here.
Ramsey has been a threat in transition for Notre Dame, number 24. From Palo Alto, a sophomore All-American.
You know, speaking with Kevin Corrigan before the game, Quinn McCann has the ball right now, 15 in blue. He takes, along with Brian Tevlin, close to double the reps of any other midfielder on this team. So you got to watch 5 or 15 for that matter, and 12 in blue in terms of the amount of times they're on the field.
Riley Gray bumping off Charlie O'Connor. There's Pat Kavanaugh. Brower still on him. Now Dobson. He's got one of the 3 Notre Dame goals. Dobson's got a short stick matchup. Chris Kavanaugh picked up by Wilson Stevenson. Now Chris Kavanaugh had the short stick. Absorbs the contact. Looking for help. Here's Gray. Shot clock inside 20. Gray sandwiched. Ball on the ground.
Look out.
Taylor out of the Tempest and scores.
Liam Entenmann told me this is the type of game you dream of playing in from the time you first pick up a stick. Even-keeled, keeps it simple. And then Taylor at the other end, he's like a dumpster diver. He's just sniffing around it. Keep your eyes on 13 in blue. Watch him.
You can't leave him alone. In the second-time grounders in the defensive end, keep in mind, Jake Taylor on one end, Dyson Williams on the other. It is critical when you're playing defense against those guys that you get it up out of that defensive zone, because those guys are automatic when it's on the rug.
Quint, the last 2 goals for Notre Dame. It's guys just picking up loose balls and finding the back of the net in chaos.
That was a garbage goal. They all count, and if you've been watching this Notre Dame team recently, they have had the most unlucky goals go against them that might be the most fortuitous hop that this team and Jake Taylor have gotten in a while.
It's turning into the Waste Management Open.
Look, these Monday games are never pretty. These Monday games are taxing for these athletes. I'd love to see the championship moved to Thursday night or Saturday. Give them a week to prep. Give them a week to recover and rest.
Survival of the fittest.
Andrew McAdory, he's got a matchup here against the Shorty Parlett. Jaden Carey scored a goal in the semi. That's Owen Caputo, missed the cage. Dyson Williams picks it up.
Better though, that was nice.
Tommy Schelling is dangerous here on the invert. Former attackman at Lehigh.
Man-to-man defense from Notre Dame. Tight splits off the ball. They pack the middle.
McAdory shot turned away by Entenmann. Carey gets it back, a new 60 for Duke.
And in general, you're better off attacking from behind the net against the Irish. Bill Tierney telling us that as we drove over.
Bill Tierney said when he played Notre Dame, sometimes he put 3 guys behind the cage. McAdory back to Schelling. Tevlin picks him up. Schelling gets inside. Flag down. They are debating if the goal is good.
In the goal mouth, no. What?
Did he lay it?
I have a push, ball's in, right? And we have the goal right here.
Yeah.
So we're good goal because he got pushed in.
He got pushed.
Yes, exactly. Push and violation. 12. No goal, Hans. Push and violation.
Because he got pushed, he's allowed in there.
Yep.
He didn't hit the goal.
So a little confusion even amongst the officials.
30 seconds, there's no goal.
They say no goal. So you see the goal mouth, which is that semicircle in front of the crease. Let's take one more look. You're not allowed to land there, but if you are pushed in, and it looks like Schelling's pushed in, that's supposed to count unless the officials deem you took an improper path and you would have landed there anyway. It appears they felt Schelling was going to land in the goal mouth anyway, so it's no goal, but he was pushed. There's still the penalty for the push. Besides getting replay right next year for goals late in the game and in overtime, we might have to find a cleaner solution with the goal mouth as well. So Duke now with an extra man opportunity. They scored the first goal of the game less than a minute into the final, have not scored since. Skip pass, O'Neal, left-hand bouncer, too high.
This is a great opportunity to get the big man going.
O'Neal back to McAdory. Notre Dame gets its 6th man back on. It will stay with the Blue Devils. 24 seconds to go on the shot clock. Duke has missed 15 straight. Schelling against Will Donovan, who dazzled in the semifinal win against Virginia. Now McAdory. Shot clock down to 5. Balsamo sandwiched. Fake. The Yale transfer. He and Tevlin brought championship pedigree to South Bend, Kark.
Yes, they did. As true freshmen in 2018 for Andy Shea, not only did they win a national title, but they were impact players. Fake was their #1 defender in 2018. Tevlin, a two-way midfielder, making plays all over the place in their leadership. We saw it in practice. And Friday, in the walkthrough, Tevlin took over.
Notre Dame another chance. Richard Delly, and the Irish have a 5-1 lead.
Kevin Corrigan in 1988, when he went out to South Bend and started this program, established one of the most tenacious defenses in the country year after year. Conlon and Ramsey, the pinch double team.
Incredible sub-game awareness. Richard Delly, who plays a lot of extra man offense, has maybe the best mitts on the team. He is the recipient of masterful substitution game by Kevin Corrigan and staff.
A timeout by John Danowski and Duke. 5 unanswered by Notre Dame after Duke fired the opening salvo.
Chris Cotter down on the field here at the link. 5-1 our score. Notre Dame on top in the second quarter. Coming up at halftime, Bill Tierney, he's got 7 national championships as a coach. And Paul Rabel, the commissioner of the PLL, he's got 2. So obviously a lot of championship experience. We'll talk things over with Paul Carcaterra about the first half, and we'll look forward to the PLL season, which starts next week in Albany, guys.
A lot of lacrosse coming up this summer. PLL starts next weekend. You've got the World Games in San Diego. John Danowski will coach Team USA. Right now, though, it's 5-1 Notre Dame in the Division I National Championship. 5 different goal scorers. Pat Cavanaugh has not been a factor, and Notre Dame has a 4-goal lead.
Chris Fake has taken Brennan O'Neill out of the equation for Duke.
We get a hold, and it's against Duke. Kark, what's working right now offensively for Notre Dame with Pat Cavanaugh essentially a decoy?
Midfield offense. You saw Dobson early. They're striking from up top, above goal line extended, where the bread and butter of this offense throughout the course of the season is when 51 has the ball behind. They've almost flipped the script.
Pat Cavanaugh not on the field. Simmons up top. Here's a good look. Seymour trying to dodge back. Good recovery that time by Brower. Henry Bard went to Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia, feeding Richard Deli. Loose ball. Great trail check. Tyler Carpenter. That's a procedure call on Notre Dame. And now Jake Caputo the other way. Jake and Owen Caputo, the sons of longtime John Danowski assistant coach Ronnie Caputo. Now O'Neill and Quint. Duke has to get 34 going. He has not scored since the second quarter of that semifinal game against Penn State. Game 1 of the NBA Finals Thursday on ABC. The Nuggets against either the Heat or the Celtics. Boston down 3-0. That last second tip in Game 6 to force a Game 7. Derek White. McAdory takes Conlon, the Holy Cross transfer, behind the cage. Duke is 1 for 16. Ledman the only goal. He's got it now. Jose Boyer all over him. Ledman turns, didn't get much on it. Entenmann the save.
That's exactly what Notre Dame wants. That's what this defense is designed to do, to keep you on the perimeter, on the fringes, for you to take severe angle shots where the goal is not 6 feet by 6 feet. Entenmann will eat those up all day long.
Beauty of a save. And you saw the adjustment defensively not to let Ledman, game winner against Penn State, first game or goal of the game today, getting underneath his defender. They kept him up top.
Little off-ball shenanigans from the Notre Dame attack.
So Duke gets it back. O'Neill this time matched up with Will Donovan, the freshman All-American.
If you watch Notre Dame this year, their only 2 losses were against who? Virginia. What did Virginia do against them? Got the ball behind the net to Schellenberger and fed the crease effectively. Just haven't seen that from Duke.
O'Neill right now planted behind the cage. Not much rhythm or flow to this offense right now. Can McAdory find something? No.
Again, I like the McAdory-Balsamo matchups as party starters and dodgers, but in general, I want to see the ball behind the net more, Kark.
And look at the lack of cushion Fake gives Brennan O'Neill.
O'Neal turns, fires. He's now 0 for 4 and 1 for 8 in 2 games against the Irish.
Heard defensive coordinator Ryan Wellner that last time out just say all about O'Neal's hands. When you're approaching him adjacent, slide to his hands. Make him feel you right away.
Caputo looks to shake his man. We saw Michigan Quint play off of Brennan O'Neal. He said, really?
Yeah.
Torched them for 6 goals in the quarterfinals.
You got to get to the railroad engine before he gets rolling.
Shelling against Donovan. Up top. Low pass. Caputo couldn't take it. Donovan the ground ball. 4 turnovers for Duke.
Irish forcing bad shots. Duke getting sloppy.
McCann fires on the empty net and hits. Duke was in a ride, and McCann with a juice goal for the Irish.
Donovan, little subtle slap check as his player was going to make the pass, and it's off the mark now. McCann with his eyes up.
Who did I say logged more minutes than anyone?
You know,
Quinn McCann.
Karki wears a catapult system, a GPS ground tracking, and ricochets that one off the post. And he logs double the mileage of the average Notre Dame midfielder. That's what he told us this week. And you think about all the breaks. Luck of the Irish.
Here we go. Down.
All of a sudden in this NCAA tournament, Notre Dame has found a way to win faceoffs against LaSalle. Today against Naso, a timeout by Kevin Corrigan.
And look at the players. Look at the players to Coach Corrigan. You see them patting him on the back. Patting him on the back. They know what he's dealing with, Anish. They know what's hanging over this Notre Dame program.
That was classic. I was like 10 feet from that. Pat Cavanaugh hugging the coach with a huge call. You can't take those to the locker room with you. And Kevin Corrigan knows he's got Duke just where he wants him, and this next possession can be critical.
Naso and Lynch. Naso wins the clamp portion. Exited to where he wanted, but just couldn't come up with it. And Lynch, while his numbers may not be off the charts this season, when the pressure's on, how about this? This makes my day. Kevin Corrigan's been at Notre Dame. This is his 35th year, okay? This is a guy that keeps coming back to try to get that gold trophy. He hasn't gotten there. You know, today is another opportunity, man, and his teammates, the players, I think understand how much this would mean to him.
He has been the Sisyphus of college lacrosse. He's been to championship weekend. He's been to the championship game twice. Still seeking that elusive first championship. His team up 6-1.
That's his wife on the left, Liz. Took over this program in 1988. Likes to walk or bike to work. Brother Tim, a great midfielder in the mid-'80s. Boo, the AD at NC State. His dad's a legend. And what he's built, their home games this season were just riveting. Arlotta gets filled up, and they put on a great show, Kark.
And he knows where his opportunity is today offensively, attacking from up top. I mentioned earlier, heavy dose of the Cavanaughs all season long from behind the cage and goal line extended. Today, and for that matter, against Virginia, they attacked up top. Even Chris Cavanaugh, you're seeing him dodging from some typical midfield spots.
Notre Dame has connected on its last 3 shots. Chris Cavanaugh against Wilson Stevenson. In 2019, Stevenson suffered a devastating leg injury in a quarterfinal win against Notre Dame. Dobson now.
Keep staying there, I got you.
That year, Duke got to the national championship game, lost to Yale. Stevenson was in a hospital fearing at one point amputation. This year, he's an All-American. Kavanaugh to Gray, shoots low, denied. William Helm. Helm's played well in this first half.
This 4.5 minutes is so crucial. A goal or two from Duke here can change the whole complexion of this game.
Kark, remember last year? That Monday, you're never quite sure when fatigue would set in. Maryland had a huge lead on Cornell, and then in the fourth quarter, we saw Maryland's legs give out. Cornell nearly came back.
You felt if that game had a few more minutes, anything could have happened. But after watching Notre Dame come off the field Saturday, I've never in my time seen a player like Chris Kavanaugh walking into a locker room, basically shuffling his feet. Almost had to be carried by his teammates, and he's got some pep in his step. The recovery's amazing.
Duke trying to find the mojo for what was one of the top scoring offenses in the country. More than 15 goals a game entering championship weekend. O'Neal turned away by Fake. Now Ledman. Napolitano fell down. O'Neal looking for Dyson Williams off his stick. A turnover by the Blue Devils. That's their 5th. Big check by Dyson Williams. He'll ride it back. Williams has McAdory on the wing. It looked like he wasn't sure what to do. And it'll stay with Duke. Williams made the play. He's not a typical carrier. And Kark, it looked like he was a little in between. Do I take it? Do I give it to number 2?
And he's normally money from that type. The hustle was incredible by Dyson Williams. And normally when he finishes an East, and you made a great point, it's catch, get rid of the ball in the next second or two. This time he's carrying it. He probably had to think too much.
I think a defender either blocks this or trail checks him. I don't know. Deflected.
It was a shot.
Look at this. Look at that effort by Fake. Just putting his stick potentially in the shooting lane. 7 in blue with an incredible hustle play.
Quint, in the semifinal game against Virginia, you pointed this out a few times. As the game continued, it seemed Virginia was getting every bounce. Matthew Nunes making a save with his shoelaces. A ball went off a Notre Dame defender's stick and back into the goal for a UVA tally. Today it's the other way around, and Notre Dame's been getting every bounce. And Brennan O'Neal still just 1 goal in almost 6 quarters against Notre Dame this season, and he has not scored or tallied a point since halftime of the Penn State game.
Off the mark with his feet set. Nice defense here on the question mark by Chris Fake. Turnover city right now for the Durham Devils.
At times he has been an unstoppable force. 2nd in Division I in points per game. So far looking for that first one today. As championship season for a lot of the spring sports, and our coverage continues with the 2023 Women's College World Series. The action begins Thursday at noon Eastern on ESPN. For more information, visit NCAA.com. You had the Field of 64 released earlier today with all the regional sites for college baseball. Regionals get underway next weekend. If you're a lacrosse fan, you've got the PLL coming up. Final season in the NLL World Games at the end of June. This weekend is no longer the sad goodbye it used to be for the sport.
We're on ABC next Saturday and Sunday. Out of a timeout, Matt Danowski will show you what he likes in this game.
Caputo hesitated. Save Entenmann.
Started with the McAdory initiation. I tell you, if you don't move Liam Entenmann and don't get to the dirt, the pay dirt area, he's gonna gobble everything up.
Got some Dylan Ward, who plays for the PLL Water Dogs in him. Bigger guy, can crouch down and cover so much of the net. And Matt Danowski, the offensive coordinator, after that shot by Caputo, just put his head down. Not thrilled with that look against a first-team All-American goalie.
Simmons does the dance with McGuire. There's the slide, now Pat Cavanaugh. Comes back to Tevlin, who whiffed initially, shovels it ahead. Whoa, wow. Pat Cavanaugh and Stevenson collide. Chris Cavanaugh retrieves.
There's some heavy hitting in this game. I mean, Jake Wilson took a two-hander to arms, and then Wilson Stevenson got sent into orbit.
Simmons against the short stick. Back to Pat Cavanaugh. Notre Dame's all-time assist leader. It trickles back to Dobson. Shot clock at 5. Simmons from goal line extended, looking for room. Jake Caputo dislodges it. Shot clock violation. Duke ball. 84 seconds to go. 80 on the shot clock. And Kark, I know there's still a lot of lacrosse left. If Duke can get something before halftime, you get the feeling it could go a long way.
And you'll take any goal, but it would mean a little more if you got your superstar, Brennan O'Neill, involved too, because as this game goes on, the longer he's held out of the scoring column, the more he starts thinking and pressing late.
Duke on the season connects on a third of its shots. A timeout called by John Danowski. Today, Duke is 1 for 23. Later today on ESPN2, the Mammoth, the Bandits. It is game 2 of the NLL Finals on ESPN2. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern from Denver. 6-1 Notre Dame. 6 different goal scorers for the Irish. Garrett Ledman scored the first goal of the game for Duke less than a minute into the championship, and really nothing else from Duke since then. Liam Entenmann has stopped 8 of 9 shots in the cage for the Irish.
Duke averages 15 goals per game. They have not been held to single digits all season long. Their lowest offense of production was 12 goals on 3 different occasions. This is so far below par, it's hard to believe. And you see Entenmann staying in the zone. I spoke to him. Said the key is to stay even keeled, to find that level point, and don't overanalyze it. He said, it's a very simple job. Stop the ball. I need to be calm. I need to be patient.
This is maybe the most surprising Duke's starting attack, which has been one of the most productive units in the country. Kark, you're talking about 3 All-Americans and maybe the Tewaaraton winner. That's the Heisman of lacrosse in Brennan O'Neill. Goose eggs so far.
They've actually been calm when I've been in and out of that offensive huddle with Matt Danowski. They want him in the action here, but eventually you'll see as they chew some clock, Denenza will get the ball to Brennan O'Neill behind and look for a pick. I think the pick game is massive too, because when you play an aggressive defender like Chris Fake, if you have a pick game implemented, there's 2 things you could do. You could use the pick and get him to be over-aggressive, but you could also slip under and reject the pick. There's options when you're getting him involved in the pick game.
Denenza had a 2-goal game against Notre Dame earlier this year. Bet by Ben Ramsey. About a 3-second differential between game clock and a shot clock. Here's O'Neill. Does he take it to Fake? Fake meets him in the body. O'Neill gets to the left hand, and it's off the side of the net. Conlon heaves it downfield into the webbing of William Helm. After scoring 35 seconds into the game, Duke held scoreless for the last 29-25 of the first half.
Hip to hip, stick on the gloves, Crips fake matching strides with Brennan O'Neill.
Paul?
Coach, where do you find where the seams are offensively when you're 6-on-6 in the settled game?
We're not finding enough of them, Clark, to be honest with you. I think there's some more there for us, but right now we just keep mixing up what we're doing, and we're trying to pick on different little things that we've seen with them, usually in their help position.
Defensively, Chris Fake on Brennan O'Neill. How would you categorize his play?
Well, he's played great so far, but there's 30 minutes to go. We've done a nice job negotiating the two-man with him and the shorties that they're putting him with, and Chris has done a great job with him in the solo matchups.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
In this month, Kevin Corrigan has been on the wrong side of a horror movie ending against the Duke Blue Devils. Still a lot of time, but the Irish are 30 minutes away from their first national championship in men's lacrosse. 30 minutes into this 2023 national championship, Notre Dame with a 6-1 lead on Duke, about ready for the start of quarter number 3. And his Schroff Quint Kesnick will get down to Paul Carcaterra in just a minute. For Duke, 1 goal in the first half. That is the lowest amount of goals in a half in the championship since 1988. Cornell only had 1 against Syracuse. This is one of the best offenses in the country. They've got to wake up, don't they?
Yeah, the fact, though, that Notre Dame only has 6 is kind of good news. So Duke's defense is keeping them within reach. And what needs to change here will Duke's offense or the pace and tempo of this game. If you're John Danowski, do you become bold here in East and try to score some transition goals, some goals off of face-offs? You got to do something to shake things up in the settled sets. And if you're Kevin Corrigan right now, you're just leaning back saying, hey, I'm going to let my defense do the work. We keep them on the fringes. I got the best goalie in the business. I like what I'm seeing.
3 of Notre Dame's 6 goals have come off of scrap plays. Chris Kavanaugh picking up a ball on the ground, finding the back of the net. Jake Taylor out of a melee, gets the ball in front of the crease, scores. Quinn McCann against a 10-man ride into the empty net. Those are 3 of Notre Dame's goals in the 6-on-6 half-field sets. Both defenses have dictated. Kark, you talked to John Danowski. What did he tell you?
As we see Will Lynch here streaking in, Notre Dame about to sub. He told me he's happy with his defense. He said in the box they've only allowed 2 goals. They're playing really technical, sound defense. Offensively, he said Notre Dame is really forcing Duke to play with their offhands, and they haven't answered the bell. So the lefty dominance, guys like O'Neill and Balsamo, they're forcing them to their weak hands, and they have to be able to answer the bell there. And they are going to get Brennan O'Neill involved more in the pick game in the second half.
Chris Kavanaugh from X. Wilhelm comes out to meet him behind the cage. Kavanaugh turns the corner. Helm got back there. Dobson had 4 goals in the semifinals. He's Notre Dame's highest scoring midfielder. He's got a short stick matchup in gray. Now Pat Kavanaugh marked by a short stick in Jake Caputo. Kavanaugh, his pass hits the ground. And we're going to get a loose ball push on Duke.
That's a stinger if you're Duke, because you're playing such great defense. The shot clock is on your side there. I tell you, Pat Kavanaugh just looks like he's playing on one leg. Does a great job there of drawing the double team. And Duke, I don't know why they send 2 at Kavanaugh, playing with a torn hamstring. I think Duke is greatly overestimating his abilities in this game.
So what would you do? Put a shorty on him and not slide?
Actually, that's how I'd play him.
Helm denies Chris Kavanaugh.
I'm not sure if I would put the short stick on him because it could disrupt your base defense. 6-on-6, they've only allowed 2 goals, but I would not have Kenny Brower on him.
No, you're wasting Kenny Brower by covering Pat Kavanaugh on one leg.
Kark, what do you want to see from Duke in these settled half-field sets? Now Gray will let it rip. This short stick defensive midfield for Duke has been underrated all season long. It has been a strength. It's one of the best rope units in the country. And Gray with Duke's first goal since the first minute of the game.
Stevenson impacting that shot just a tad, but the location too easy for Helm. And then the early offense, Clark.
This short stick defensive midfield group, Aiden McGuire and Jack Gray specifically. I watched Jack Gray in high school. He was an elite offensive midi. Coach Danowski, Coach Laputo, they put him as a short stick. He is a tenacious type of short stick defensive midi, but he gives you offensive opportunities in transition. And he's a shooter from an elite perspective from that spot. So as two-way as it gets is the new upgrade for these shorties at Duke.
Naso wins the faceoff. In the first half, Notre Dame won the majority of the draws. Naso does have to win it back. And now the ride by Notre Dame. It's not a 10-man. With a healthy Kavanaugh, Pat Kavanaugh that is, it sometimes feels like one.
That's where the injury shows up. Those guys hustle and ride like banshees.
Fake fell down. O'Neal feeding Dyson Williams inside. Duke takes advantage. First point for Brennan O'Neal. First point for Dyson Williams. First points for this Duke attack.
It looks like the Blue Devils got a 60-minute game on their mind. Coming out of the locker room, they're buttoned up on defense. And a wrinkle. They set a pick, and fake is taken out by Dyson Williams, who then slips to pay dirt.
There's the pick game. And I always tell people, the pick game obviously creates an opportunity for you as a dodger, but it also frees up your hands as a passer. The rest of the defense is in support mode. And when you're in support mode on Brennan O'Neal, he then becomes a feeder, and his biggest growth this season is his pass, and he's doubled his assists from 2022 to 2023.
So after not scoring for 31 and a half minutes, Duke gets two tallies in 36 seconds.
Play the ball.
Naso wins it from Hagstrom. 5 goals for Duke is not a big margin. Helm averts disaster. Naso's the guy when he gets going, and he gets better as games go along. He can turn goals into make it, take it.
Talking to John Danowski at practice on Friday about Jake. Top-rated face-off guy in the country. He said his toughness, but his in-game adjustments, his mind, his understanding of the opponent.
His endurance as well. Late in games, he's taken every ACC face-off other than 2. His stamina is elite, and he grinds.
Aiden Denenza against Brian Tevlin.
Tell you, I thought McAdory had a step and could have let it go right-handed.
Here comes Ledman. Penthouse Parm. Garrett Ledman.
Championship runs as Notre Dame huddles and asks questions in terms of where was the slide. Duke's in the game. Kevin Corrigan not happy with the lack of help. Garrett Ledman's been going underneath a bunch down the stretch the last 4 weeks. This time he goes back to his bread and butter, Quinn. High heat.
A senior from DeMatha has been on a mission in this tournament. That's a rocket on the run.
You will see Ledman all summer long in the PLL. A 3rd round pick of the Whip Snakes.
You won't see those locks. Those will be donated to Locks of Love probably between now and next Saturday's games on ABC from Albany.
Lynch and Naso, those two played at rival high schools. And here's Frizzoli. Frisoli the other way, over to the wing. O'Neal fakes the shot. There's the hammer. Save Entenmann. Comes back toward midfield. Big ground ball. Momentum on Duke's side. Popped into the air. Carpenter for Duke. Trail check fake. The 5-time All-American, the transfer from Yale.
Nothing like it. Playoff ground balls. Memorial Day ground ball play. These fans can feel it. This thing is heated up quite a bit.
Simmons, well-timed trail check to alter the shot. Kark, all of a sudden, in the first few minutes of this second half, this game has turned. There is a different feel.
John Danowski was so calm. I spoke to him at half. You think that he'd be winning by 5. He knows this is a 60-minute game, but you got to watch Chris Kavanaugh. After that last kind of scrum up by the midfield, he came up limping as well.
Taylor had a chance. Carpenter gets hit. No flag. Now we get a flag. Trailing the play. Duke picks it up. Delayed penalty on Notre Dame. Free possession for the Blue Devils. Wilhelm urging his team to go, to push. Irish milling in retreat. Duke pressing downhill. Caputo bounces off McCann. Penalty coming on Notre Dame. Down 6-1 at halftime. Duke has opened the third quarter with 3 straight. Caputo plays it to the middle. Jaden Carey's shot not there. Picked up by Conlon, and Duke now gets the extra man.
Blue, number 51. Push, 30 seconds. Reset to 60, please.
Good things happen when you hustle on loose balls. You get there first. Helm, the push will come right there. We'll look at the diving save by the Kaiser William Helm. Taylor goes to his tornado twister. Helm leaves his feet. Now here's the penalty right here. Good job by Carpenter, scooping up the rebound. An obvious pushing violation by Notre Dame. As I said, they ride, they dig in and make your job tough as a clear.
Duke was 1 for 24 shooting in that first half. 3 for 5 since halftime. McAdory to O'Neal. Hello! 4 unanswered to begin the second half for Duke. It's a 1-goal championship.
I have the perfect angle. Standing on the Notre Dame bench, there is only one spot Brendan O'Neal can beat Liam Entenmann. Opposite pipe, hugging it. Absolute gas. Notre Dame doesn't flash out to him quick enough. He gets time, room, and look at the placement.
Offside hip. Target hit. Think about a guy who's put in the time. Solitary practice in the backyard against the wall. Hours and hours shooting on the net. There's your payoff.
O'Neal on the season now 3 points away from the century mark. The Irish win the faceoff. The wings, Ross Bergmaster picking up the ball, 27 in blue. One of the dual bagpipers along with Brian Tevlin.
Best ever. The duo coming out of the locker room. I'll tell you right now, Notre Dame needs to find a second wind. If the Kavanaughs aren't whole, if they're both hurting, 50 and 51, well, Eric Dobson's the guy you're going to turn to, big number 8, the lefty.
The 6'4" Riley Gray spins it back to Pat Cavanaugh without a point today. Playing with that taped up hamstring. Chris Cavanaugh got 5 stitches over his right eye after the semifinal. Gray against Gray. Riley and Jack flag down. Pat Cavanaugh looking for the crease feed. Oh, wow. And more flags fly near the crease.
Be careful. Be careful.
Will sort through the carnage.
Hey, we'll go left alley, fellas. 1 man, 2 minutes.
There are 2 fouls into play, both against number 20 Duke. White, 20, slash, 1 minute. White, 20, illegal cross check to the head, 1 minute full time. He will serve the full time first, and then the slash.
That's a potential cross check. That's a potential slash. That's the high one. That's the high one that gets you the indirect contact to the head or neck area.
So it is essentially a 2-minute penalty. Now for the first minute, it's non-releasable. So Notre Dame can score as many goals as they want in that first minute, and Jack Gray has to stay in the sin bin. Once that first minute expires, any goal by Notre Dame would end the penalty. The Irish on the season better than 60% with the extra man that is #1 in all of Division I. Chris Kavanaugh to Pat Kavanaugh. Dobson, double-digit man-up goals in his career. He's a weapon from the outside. Richard Delly, Chris Kavanaugh. Now Dobson thought about it. Pat Kavanaugh feeds the middle, shot wide. Simmons has the backup. 93 seconds to go on this man up.
Duke needs to play 51 in blue. Pat Kavanaugh as a passer with a hamstring injury. I'm not sure he's got the same range.
Taylor feeding the three, shot, score! It's the second goal for Richard Delly. It's 7-5 Notre Dame. The extra man tally with 7:24 to go.
Top extra man unit in the nation in the regular season. Richard Delly is the specialist. They play the crease cue to perfection.
It's all about execution. Watch him sit down in the middle of this zone defense. And one touch it left-handed. He finds the seam, he finds the bubble, and that stops the bleeding for Notre Dame.
Notre Dame had a 6-1 lead at halftime. Duke opened the third quarter on a 4-0 run.
Started with some early offense. Attacked this Notre Dame defense before they're set up with their matchups. And then they use the picking game. Dyson Williams capitalizes when Chris Fake loses his feet. Garrett Ledman, their midfielder, their senior, has been on a mission trying to carry this team to another gold championship. He gets involved. And then hammer time from Brendan O'Neill on the extra man.
And now a critical face-off. Notre Dame faces off with a man advantage. It's 3 versus 2 at the face-off X. Lynch gets it to his wing, Donovan. And Notre Dame still has 15 seconds here before the penalty becomes releasable.
They could have used a timeout there to preserve the penalty time, but this early in the third quarter, and you only have 2 timeouts, you can't burn it there.
So now into the releasable portion of the penalty on Jack Gray. Notre Dame already with a goal on this extra man. Pat Kavanaugh to brother Chris going upstairs, Helm with a huge save. Now Duke will try to kill off these final 30 seconds and get back to even strength. That's a 2-minute man up. Caputo slips. There's Pat Kavanaugh. He falls down. McGuire off the ground. And Duke did not get it across midfield before that shot clock hit 60. It goes back to Notre Dame.
But did Notre Dame possess the ball?
They're going to say no. That's going to be the question.
He's at possession.
I had a reset. reset. One arm, yeah.
Gotcha. So you had to reset?
Yeah, I had both sides. You got it. I gave one to Chris too. Reset. Went both ways.
The shot clock never reset. The shot clock never reset. We're going to pump it up to 80. It's going to be white ball. Shot clock never reset, white ball.
And that's the right call. Pat Cavanaugh did possess the ball. And once he possesses it, you'll see it right here. He's got the ball. Once he possesses it, the shot clock should reset to 80. It never did. Duke got the ball back. So Duke ball, fresh 80-second shot clock.
Love the communication by the three officials, getting together, talking it over, getting it right.
Making sure you get it right. Communicating. Charles Balsamo, we found out yesterday, he's okay with going by Charlie. His grandma, however, prefers Charles.
Grammy, we're hoping you're enjoying the show. Thanks for watching.
I have an Italian grandmother. We call us by the right name, Anish.
Pompadoured Paul. Duke's only lead of the game was 1-0. Dinenza has a stick check loose. Balsamo, the recovery. Still 20 to shoot. Marco Napolitano, who rode the bench for the last 3 years before starting this year, checks McAdory. McAdory shot on the run. And the backup by the freshman Balsamo, 11 to shoot. Balsamo had 2 goals in the semis. Crease feed behind the back shot, turned away. If Ledman can pick it up, Duke gets a fresh 60. Duke recovers the ball. New shot clock, 10 saves now for Liam Entenmann.
This is big here, Anish, because this Notre Dame defense now, in this game, both teams will start to tire defensively. And if you can stack possessions and resets, your percentage of scoring goes through the roof.
And Quint, if Duke had recovered that rebound in the offensive half, shot clock resets to 60. They recovered it on the defensive half, so they get a full 80. Dinenza rolls back, fires with the right hand and scores!
The tiniest degree off the stick, glances off the crossbar. You're living right, William Helm.
You keep swinging. Aiden Dinenza is a 30-point scorer from the midfield, and he's been steady all season long. And I love how he uses his right shoulder to escape with the roll, and then all the momentum to pound it past Entenmann, who has been terrific today, but you just got to keep swinging if you're Duke.
Down.
5 goals in the third quarter for Duke.
Have stick on stick.
After 1 in the first 31.5 minutes. Here comes Lynch. Helm eats it up. Outlets ahead.
So much talk about Brennan O'Neill, obviously the alpha of this offense, but field level, I think the matchups with Andrew McAdory, I think speed-wise, I would try to get 2 and White in space. I don't think anyone can match his feet.
Schelling takes Tevlin behind the cage, now picked up by Napolitano. They get the switch. That was the plan, so McAdory goes to work on the short stick Tevlin. Help from Conlin, who led the league, who led the nation in takeaways in 2020 and 2021. Fake, tries to keep it alive. It comes to Dyson Williams. Shot clock does not reset. Nobody established possession. Now O'Neal. He's got the short stick Tevlin. Help's got to come. It comes back to O'Neal. This is the matchup. O'Neal with the right hand too high. Oh, Caputo digs it out. 8 to shoot. Caputo feeding to Schelling. Save Entenmann. Hard red off the ground. He's had some big ground balls for the Irish.
Clock and score management's going to be huge now. Two tired teams. Last 17 minutes of action here. Understand that your defense needs a bit of a breather.
Pat Cavanaugh still out there, still without a point. Has the hamstring all taped up. The left one. Here's Chris Cavanaugh. A goal and an assist for the youngest of 6 Cavanaugh siblings. 5 brothers, sister Colleen. Now Quinn McCann splits past McGuire. No flag. They'll let him play. Carpenter had it, still does.
Oh, what a play!
And Tyler Carpenter gets it to Helm, so Duke can set up the clear. He was in an ambush.
That was a big-time navigation with the long pole in traffic.
A chance to tie for Duke. It has not been tied since it was 1-1. The 6-1 halftime lead for the Irish has almost evaporated. Inside, it goes in! Dyson Williams was there. It looked like he was stunned for a second. We are tied at 7 with a minute and a second to go in quarter number 3.
Look at that hit. Absolutely selling out. Perfect hit by Charlie O'Connor. And then the ground ball by Carpenter. He is a magician on the floor since he arrived in Durham, giving the team an opportunity to hit right here with an incredible through pass by Balsamo, Quint.
I don't think that ever made it through to Dyson Williams. It was deflected off a Notre Dame defender's head or stick. Look at Williams. He didn't shoot it, but he'll take it. He'll take it. The lefty from Ontario and the Hill Academy will take it.
That's the second time.
Big. We have Will Lynch right now as we take another look at this goal. Will Lynch is on the sideline. Doctors are looking at him. Looks like his jaw area, so Hagstrom's going to take this face, but it could be for more than Notre Dame wants to deal with.
Hagstrom has been taking enough face-offs. It's not like he's a backup who doesn't get used much. And that last goal went off the stick of Ben Ramsey. They'll ping Duke. And Notre Dame gets the ball off the face-off. Final 40 seconds, quarter number 3. Duke scored 1 goal in the entire first half. A 6-1 run in the third to tie the game at 7. Crease, Tevlin! The bagpiper who scored the game winner in the semis puts Notre Dame back on top.
Double team drawn defense is on the carousel. Pass to goal line extended and a well-timed cut by Devlin, who presents the visual target. The pass is a little high, but he makes the handle and then gets pushed
The pass being high actually benefits his ability to finish because he is shot ready at that location rather than having to bring his stick back. He's losing his angle as a righty. Tevlin and McCann log more minutes maybe than any midfielders in college lacrosse, and as a 6-year senior, give him all the minutes he can handle.
The bagpipes Tevlin uses before each game belonged to his brother Brendan, who was killed in 2014 in a random act of violence by a deranged jihadist. He carries Brendan's memory. He talks about having an angel. Andy Shea of Yale has called him one of the greatest leaders he's ever been around. Came to Notre Dame as a grad transfer, voted a captain, and he scored some big goals here on championship weekend. Chance here, McCann with time running down in the third. Now Chris Cavanaugh from the crease, diving. The goal is good.
He understands clock management. He understands flight as well. So fired up, Chris Cavanaugh, as he pumps his fist to Irish Nation. This is athleticism, it's burst, increase awareness all in one. And this is a guy who's been absolutely clobbered the last 2 games.
Officials say Cavanaugh avoided the goal mouth when he landed. 6/10 of a second to go, and Notre Dame will face off with a long pole. Third quarter comes to an end. Kevin Corrigan watched Duke rally from 6-1 down to tie the game at 7. Then Pat Cavanaugh with an assist to Tevlin to make it 8-7. Chris Cavanaugh gives the Irish a 2-goal cushion heading into the final quarter. Fourth quarter of this national championship game. Notre Dame led 6-1 at halftime. Duke drew even at 7-7 before the Irish scored the final 2 goals of the third quarter to make it 9-7. Those last 2 goals came in the last 30 seconds of the third quarter. And we go to quarter number 4 of this championship game. Notre Dame has never won a championship in lacrosse. Duke seeking its 4th title. Will Lynch, who was getting looked at on the sideline, back out there, took the face-off. He won it. Duke won it back. And then Notre Dame gets it right back. Frisoli lost it. And Tevlin will wait for the offensive personnel.
Frisoli got sandwiched. The Duke bench wanting a push call or from the rear.
This Notre Dame team is being kept together with duct tape. Will Lynch hurting, obviously. Trainers and doctors working on his jaw. Pat Cavanaugh getting stretched out, can barely walk. Chris Cavanaugh has been nicked up as well. This is a team that is fighting with every last inch they have.
Here is Pat Cavanaugh playing on a heavily taped left hamstring. Cavanaugh sets the pick for Simmons. Cavanaugh prevents the turnover against the short stick Gray. Pat Cavanaugh turns, missed the cage, out of bounds. Henry Bard. He was closest for Duke. And the Blue Devils back to work. Kark, what worked offensively for Duke in that third quarter?
I thought dodges from up top. We saw Ledman, we saw Denenza. Two things that are going to allow them to get back into this game, potentially tie or go ahead. Transition goals with their short stick defensive midfielders who are thoroughbreds, or midfield dodging.
Ledman for Denenza. O'Neal tumbles. Hangs onto it, shoots, Entenmann with the stop. Rebound loose, O'Neal's got the rebound. Now McAdory, new 60. McAdory spins around, he's stopped. Harris can't pick it up. It's loose, Notre Dame ball.
Entenmann, Liam Entenmann. The hand-eye coordination at the last second. The save against O'Neal.
It's the third time Duke and Notre Dame have met in the championship game. 2010, Notre Dame had a one-goal fourth quarter lead. Duke tied it, won in overtime on C.J. Costabile's goal off the opening faceoff. That was Duke's first championship. Dobson on the run, shot blocked. In 2014, Duke had an 8-2 lead. They saw Notre Dame get to within 10-9. Jordan Wolf scored a goal late to give Duke its national title. It's third in 5 years. Dobson has it taken away. The Duke defense has played well in these settled sets all afternoon. Both teams really in settled sets and 6-on-6 have dictated with the defense.
And so with that being said, Anish, who can find ways to score outside of the half-field sets, whether it's a face-off goal, an early offense substitution goal, a ground ball goal, a riding goal, or an extra man goal. You've got to be, I think the winner of this game in the fourth quarter will find other ways to score.
Entenmann able to make the stop. 15 saves now for the ACC Goalie of the Year. And the Kelly Award winner, that goes to the best goalie nationally.
Angle play to perfection like a hockey goalie, shutting it down, that near post.
William Helm in the cage for Duke. 8 for 17 today after going 6 for 21 in the semifinals. Simmons, the Virginia transfer. He won 2 titles with the Cavs. Over to Dobson, left hand free, fires and scores!
Liam Entenmann started playing goalie as a youngster in Massapequa, Long Island, a rec program, the Massapequa Mud Dogs. He told me every second of his lacrosse career he's been dreaming of playing for a national championship. Given the opportunity, he shut the door.
To the Florida flamethrower, the hitch, he plants his foot and absolutely increases his angle and dusts the defense. A lot of players will catch that. They'll have that small opening. He knows the best move against Wilson, 44 and white, is to plant the foot, get him to overextend, and have to flip his hips. So he's shooting at so much more net.
That is a gorgeous goal for young players to emulate. You mentioned the hitch, Kark, driving towards the middle, yanking the ball to the near low corner, and not shooting into the oncoming stick of the defender. Just underneath that stick. A lot of nuance and subtleties on that play.
3 straight for Notre Dame after Duke had tied the game at 7. Notre Dame won the regular season matchup by 5 against Duke. Irish defense making things hectic. Balsamo. Denied by Entenmann.
Gentlemen, Notre Dame is playing defense to perfection on the strong one-handed dominant players like Balsamo and O'Neal. They are daring them to go to their offhands. Coach Stanowski told me at half they needed to counter with their offhands, and Notre Dame continuously closing out their strong hand.
5 saves already in this quarter for Entenmann, 16 in the ball game.
Gut feeling is the next goal in this game is gigantic.
Simmons has had a big postseason. 5 goals in the last 2 games. Chris Cavanaugh, saved by Helm. And now Pat Cavanaugh staring down the goalie. 9 saves for Helm. Duke's got to get it across midfield before the shot clock gets to 60, and they do. Caputo! Nobody picked him up! And Owen Caputo, a 20-goal scorer 2 years ago, gets one back for Duke. Quint, you said it. Get out of the settled sets, transition, unsettled. Duke takes advantage.
That's where the windows are against this really buttoned up Notre Dame defense. Strike before they're set up in their matchups and comfortable. So right from the substitution box, Notre Dame's only got 5 on defense. Caputo sniffs it out, puts himself dead center from about 10 yards. I mean, that is an optimal shot and a little level change. He drops it low. Remember earlier, he went low to low. This time he lifts it, Kark.
He does, but the subtle movement towards his teammate O'Connor, Notre Dame kind of envisions Caputo giving that up as a passer. It gives him that extra beat to keep his hands free.
You see Entenmann going after his defense. You got to get in, check up call numbers, and number one thing there, stop the ball.
Lynch and Naso. Naso, a first-team All-American. For Notre Dame, faceoffs are a communal affair.
This is intense. This is great. Look at this.
Championship faceoff.
Get it going your way. Get it going your way. Use your feet. Kick it.
This is something.
Talk. Work with each other.
And it's Jose Boyer. City of brotherly love, the Kavanaughs. You got the Boyers, Jose, and brother Keith plays for Duke. Ramsey thought about it. Notre Dame resets. Less than 8 minutes to go in this championship game. 30,000 plus in attendance at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Riley Gray gets free. Comes to Chris Cavanaugh. No shot clock reset. You need a shot on goal for that to happen.
You know, when you watch this team operate throughout the season, there's so much Pat Cavanaugh and Chris Cavanaugh behind the cage. Those guys are nicked up. The biggest issue now, though, is if you put the ball up top too much, a turnover will create transition for Duke. So you lose a little bit with the help of the Cavanaughs not having the ball behind all the time.
A crease violation on Notre Dame. This is Jake Caputo. Spills across midfield. Flag down. And a man up coming for Duke as Caputo, a little ginger after taking the hit.
Cavanaughs can't believe it. They are the teeth of this Notre Dame ride.
Blue, 5-0, hold, 30 seconds.
It's on Chris Cavanaugh. Quint, you and I did the quarterfinal game when Notre Dame beat Johns Hopkins. Maybe foreshadowing. Hopkins took Pat Cavanaugh away in that game, and for Notre Dame, That was one where they had to win with the other guys on the field. The Kavanaughs were not factors the way they've been in other games this season.
Yeah, you have to be impressed with this Notre Dame team who, other than a Maryland overtime win, pretty much didn't play a 60-minute game during the regular season. But in the tournament, they've been tested and they've shown a competitive excellence, a resolve, so to speak, Anish, that, yeah, bumps in the road, so what?
Back left!
Duke now with the extra man, a chance to pull to within one.
Back left, back left!
Shot on the inside, save Entenmann.
Oh, mark that baby down. That's point-blank range. Look at Tevlin making sure it doesn't cross the goal line.
McCann trying to get loose from Wilson. McCann still has it, bounces it. Did it go in? They say no. It hit the pipe.
Look at the ride.
The ride by Notre Dame.
Just chopping bodies.
The Irish get it back, and it's a fresh 80.
That is vicious.
You cannot catch your breath. Clearing against the Irish. Simmons against Gray. Shoots on the run and scores!
An unbelievable desperation save by Liam Entenmann. The rebound. Irish Nation feels it. Simmons with the bottom corner. Playing for a coach and a program searching their first.
Colorado Buffalo NLL Finals Game 2 coming up next. They had a great crowd for Game 1. 30,000 plus in Philadelphia today. Will Kevin Corrigan get to hoist that championship trophy for the first time? 35 years at the helm at Notre Dame. The Irish 5 minutes and 6 seconds away. For Duke, they had a 4-goal run in the span of about 4 minutes to begin the third quarter. Do they have one more answer? Brennan O'Neill, a star among stars in 2 games against Notre Dame this season. 2 for 13 shooting. Both goals have been man-up goals. He has not scored in a 6-on-6 against Notre Dame this season. Will Lynch wins the faceoff, and now possessions and time become as important as goals.
How many more touches will the Duke offense get with under 4:45 to go?
In the semifinals, late in the game, Notre Dame was able to win clutch faceoffs against one of the best faceoff men ever in P.D. Lasala. They've won 13 out of 21 today against Duke. The Blue Devils tried out Jake Naso, an All-American. Simmons too high. Pat Kavanaugh is there. 42 seconds to shoot, 4:24 to go in regulation.
Empty net, empty net.
And Duke's pressing out, down 3. Notre Dame realizes that, calls a timeout. Kark, you know Pat Kavanaugh's banged up. When he touches the ball, that's not a bad idea.
It's not, and it isn't the worst idea if you thought a little bit defensive right now, Anish, and maybe even subbed him in for another midfielder and used the substitution box to your advantage so you could think defensively there. Pat Kavanaugh's not going to give you a ton in the ride. You have some athletic guys that could play behind the cage like a Riley Gray. And you can think defensively with having guys like McCann and Tevlin on the field. This is where the two-way midi really pops for Notre Dame.
Liam Entenmann today, 17 saves for the Irish.
Tell you, he waited his time when he was a high school goalie. Love Notre Dame. And he's gotten better and better every year. Where he's really improved, you see today, is his ability to go pipe to pipe. He's got that wide base. And in the past, the book on Liam was if you get him moving, he'll give you some cracks. Well, he's really improved his mobility, his balance, and his ability to shift pipe to pipe. And today he has been a brick wall.
"17 saves, a season high." He and the two Kavanaugh brothers, a long shared history going back to Pee Wee hockey. They played together on Long Island. We remind you, NCAA championship coverage continues with the 2023 Women's College World Series. It all starts Thursday at noon on ESPN. NCAA.com, your home for more information.
Duke looks like they're going to stay with the double team. Empty net.
It'll be Jack Simmons who initiates. Simmons over to Taylor. On the empty net, Notre Dame by 4.
Kevin Corrigan, Irish head coach, does a wonderful job. He takes Pat Kavanaugh out of the game here and substitutes players with better wheels. The goalie's going to take the slowest guy. Helm matches up with Taylor. Watch Taylor roll off of him and take this as an over-the-shoulder pass. And there's no double team there. That is done to perfection. Taylor curls, catches, his eyes are up, and he beats him topside.
A 5-1 scoring run for Notre Dame after Duke tied the game at 7. Irish led 6-1 at halftime. Can Naso give Duke momentum? Lynch has him tied up. We get a hold. It's against Duke. Notre Dame ball. 4-goal lead, 4:14 to go.
Duke's got to press out. Duke's got to extend.
Kark, the game changer on championship weekend for the Irish. They're winning faceoffs.
Will Lynch has been incredible. And I saw the doctors working on him for an extensive amount of time, checking his jaw and inside his mouth. He has just battled and battled and battled. And we talk about how they lose sometimes the statistic battle at the faceoff. They won the statistical battle at the faceoff this weekend, and they won the overall faceoff war where everyone gets involved.
4-1 Notre Dame on fourth quarter faceoffs today. McCann splits the double, hangs on to it. McCann shoots, scores! They can see the light.
There's a look at Liz Corrigan. She's been through every battle for 35 years with her husband at the helm. And I mentioned earlier, you keep the two-way middies on the field because if you lose the ball, you have defenders in Tevlin and McCann. And this is sweet music for Irish Nation.
McCann never gets tired. A team that has dealt with heartbreak, frustration, failure, and fear, and they're moments away from the biggest finish.
A year ago, this team felt like it had a chance to get to championship weekend. They never got the chance. Left out of the NCAA tournament. They taped up last year's bracket in every player's locker room. From the embers of those frustration, they forged the fire of this season. They went scorched earth on most teams. Highest scoring margin in college lacrosse. Top 5 scoring offense, scoring defense. They've got the ball now with 3:08. That green light at the end of Gatsby's deck has never looked brighter. Duke in a 10-man ride, goalie out of the cage. Notre Dame on the cusp of their first championship. Conlon downfield, missed the cage. That's a shot, and Notre Dame has the backup. Helm now retreats into net. And the Irish will milk the precious seconds. Pat Cavanaugh thinks better about it. 2:30 to go. Cavanaugh, bad hamstring and all, lost it. Brower's got it. Duke's got to strike quickly. McGuire. Here's the pole. Duke's got it. We get an offsides call against Duke. It goes to Notre Dame. You think of all the great players who have come through South Bend over the years for Kevin Corrigan. All season, and especially all week. As Tevlin puts one on cage.
Kevin took the program over in 1988. They went from club to varsity in 81. His arrival ratcheted up things. First championship weekend was at 2001. They weren't even fully funded at the time, and he didn't have the full 12.6 scholarships. It's been a gradual build. All along, they've done an amazing job placing their athletes in the working world. They never had the gold trophy to show them on the recruiting trip, but that's about to change.
A timeout by Kevin Corrigan. 1:32 to go.
This celebration will be epic.
When we've talked to the players this season, especially the Cavanaughs, Kark, getting to Philadelphia was never just the goal. It was part of the goal. It was championship or bust for the Cavanaughs and for this team after what happened last May. '90, first time in the NCAA tournament. Semi-finalist 11 years later. Lost a heartbreaker of a championship in 2010 to Duke. Another in 2014 also to Duke. The Blue Devils have been their bête noire. And championship weekend, Quint, for Notre Dame this year, it represented an exorcism. Virginia had beaten them 6 straight. They found a way against Virginia on Saturday. Duke had knocked them out of the NCAA tournament 5 times, starting with that 2010 title game. And now you're about to take down the Blue Devils, the team that have haunted your dreams and paid rent in your nightmares.
Cavanaugh family, Liz Corrigan, Will Corrigan. They should let him run the field.
Duke will press out on Tevlin. His pass knocked down. It's picked up by Ramsey. He's forced out of bounds. It comes back to Duke, 1:22 to go. McGuire, saved by Entenmann, and that should do it.
Entenmann should be the weekend's MVP. Tewaaraton trophy still hangs in the balance. I got no clue.
This program has journeyed long, searching for their El Dorado, their city of gold. There's a poem in which it's this elusive obstacle. You get close, but you never quite get there. That is about to change. Jake Caputo, perhaps one final tally for Duke.
Talk about grit. You talk about the Kavanaughs. You talk about grit. You're talking about Kevin Corrigan.
The Fighting Irish play like a champion today. Notre Dame with its first title in men's lacrosse.